So, Destiny, in January of 2019, you stated that you moved to Los Angeles to begin your career. And I know that there's some differences in Cali between Lodi, where you're from, and Los Angeles, California. Can you explain those differences to us?
Yeah, off the top of the dome, I think obviously the first thing would be that LA is obviously very huge and very diverse. I think for Lodi, Lodi is a very small town and there's not really much there, especially when it comes to, like downtown Lodi compared to downtown LA. Like downtown LA is skyscrapers, businesses, a lot of streets, but Lodi is literally a street. Downtown Lodi is literally just a street with just bars and wine tasting restaurants and little businesses. It's nothing crazy. Like that's what all my friends say. If I bring them from LA to Lodi, they're like, man, when I envision downtown, I think of big buildings, and they're like, this is it. And I'm like, this is it. So I definitely think obviously LA is a lot bigger and you get obviously a lot more people that are living that come from Europe and like all over the world. You get people that come from all over the world, accents, you know what I mean? Like Lodi, you see the same people every day. It's the same, same food every day, Mexican and American food. LA has everything. So that was definitely a huge change for me, you know what I mean? So, but I'm happy to live here. So as of right now, those are like the first things that come to my head is the food, the diversity of the people, and just the look and the vibe.
Is it really that small? And so far, which one would you say that you're enjoying the most? I won't say like better because of course you love your hometown, but which one would you say you're enjoying the most?
No, absolutely LA. There's the beach here. The beach is literally 30 minutes away. Like the beach, there's
Nice.
obviously just a lot more like stores, malls. Lodi don't even have a mall, like
Okay.
you have to drive away from Lodi to go to a mall. So it definitely is very, very small.
Okay. Okay.
I enjoy LA though. LA is fun, but Lodi is good to, after working here and going home and visiting family, it's like a nice reset. And I'm like, all right, I got my fix. I'm ready to go back to LA.
Mm-hmm. See, I haven't seen Los Angeles or been to California yet, but I know what the Big Apple looks like. So how would you compare New York City and California?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I love New York though. I love New York. How would I compare? I definitely think, at least for me, I'm born and raised Cali girl, so I'm used to perfect weather every day.
Oh
Sometimes
yeah.
it's the weather for me in New
Okay.
York. You have to literally, if you want to go and have a good time, you got to plan it out. Okay, October is when it's like the best weather, but then it also rains. It's humid as hell. It snows, you know what I mean? Like Cali, it don't snow where I came from, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So, I mean, I would still pick LA over New York.
Okay. Okay. No shame. No shame.
But I love it though. I always go there to work. That's where my label is based in New York, so I'm always there to work. It's nice, but LA is just like, okay, perfect weather. Let's go.
Right. Hopefully I get the chance to see it one day and I can compare my own, Seems
Definitely.
nice.
Got you. I'll show you around. I'll be your guide.
Oh, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. Now you released your single Tomboy, well, the visual and your original single Tomboy in 2019. Can you kind of take us back and give us some of the insights of the visual at that time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, 2019 is when I put out my first ever record as a signed artist. Tomboy, I think the visual was kind of just obviously my first music video. So me and my team were kind of like, man, we should show the day in the life of you. And I was like, well, I didn't really do much like in Lodi. There's not much to do. So I would just skate around, pick up some homies and go skate around the town, And the video is actually filmed in Lodi too. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's filmed in Lodi. So the team came down to Lodi and we literally just filmed. We got a couple skater friends that flew down to be in it that skated for Adidas skateboarding. So they flew down to be in the video from wherever they were. And it was just a fun time, just capturing, the day in the life of me, and also just to show, the first time listeners and supporters and the fans what it's like to just hang out with me for the day, a nice summer day. Just show off the skating, show off, the cars, and like some specific roads I was driving down were roads that me and my family were raised on, and how, where I come from. So there's little details in there that I wanted to show in the video as well, just to kind of give them a glimpse of where I'm from and who I am.
What does that feel like for you? At one point, those were just normal streets you would walk on en route, and now you're like filming a music video for your career. Like, isn't that like
Yeah.
amazing? Like, how does that feel?
Oh my gosh. Man, I still get like, it's kind of like emotional sometimes, especially when I come home now. It's like every time I come home, it's like, or even fans, actually, fans, they notice the streets, even in my hometown, and then they film like, this is the street Destiny filmed on, you know what I mean? And so it obviously makes me feel so good because I'm just like, wow, like even fans from like Sacramento, they drive. Like even in NorCal, they drive to come visit Lodi because that's where I'm from and they want to see it. So it's great that I'm able to put my city on the map and put literally the street that, like my family and I like come from is like amazing. And obviously it just makes me feel just super grateful and blessed. And even to my family, like my family and like my close friends that I grew up with, they're so stoked for me. You know what I mean? They're like,
Wow.
well, like you're really the famous girl. Like I'm related to a famous girl. I'm like, shut up. I'm not famous. I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to put my city on the map. So yes, it
That's
feels
really dope.
amazing, and I'm grateful and I'm humble about it. And yeah.
That's really, really dope. Now, can you give us your definition of a tomboy? I know, I'm a sneakerhead myself, so I know people automatically label us as tomboys. Can you tell us how that
Yeah.
term relates to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, when people think of tomboy, they just think of a girl that's not so girly and, where it looks like a guy, or like wears clothes, baggy clothes, or, don't wear makeup and things like that. So at least for me, that is, kind of like my style. That's always been. But for me, I also did want to flip the meaning of it and kind of put a more positive look on the word, because some people think it's kind of negative, you know what I mean? Like if you hear tomboy, like at least for me, like growing up, I would always be called a tomboy and I'm just like, shut up, like I hated it, I was like, shut up, you know what I mean? So but now it's like this song is now going to be about that, but also you're comfortable, who you are, you're
Right.
comfortable wearing these jeans, not giving a, can I cuss? Sorry. I almost said the F
We
word.
get what you mean, though.
Okay, you know what I mean? So just kind of like, being a boss in a man's world, that young woman, boss up confidence type thing, and even expressing it in the song. My mama said marry a rich man. I said I am that rich man. It's like I want to be able to inspire, I want to be able to spread that message in the song to people that need the confidence that they don't have, and they can get it from the music.
Right, right. And now you've added Leray as a feature on that single. Can you tell us why you felt Leray would be a great
Yep.
addition to the song?
Absolutely. So Leray is obviously amazing. I think I've been a fan of her for a cool minute. We knew that we wanted to put a Tomboy remix out with the female. So we were just kind of looking around like, man, who could kill this? And I'm just like, hey, Leray is having a moment right now. Like, I'm like, No More Parties is going up. I'm like, she's blowing up on TikTok. I'm seeing her face everywhere. I'm like, we should try to get Koi, like before she like is superstar and we can't get a hold of her no more, And they're like, that's a great idea. She's also a tomboy too. So she literally fits the picture. So literally I had met her over a FaceTime call while I was in the studio. And right off the bat, she goes, oh my gosh. She's like, I love the record. You're so pretty. Like, so we literally instantly hit it off. Like we knew each other before then, you know what I mean? So then literally 30 minutes later, I get a text from my management with the file of her verse. And I was like, oh, she did that. Like within 30 minutes, like literally. And I was freaking out. Like she sounds amazing. She made the song sound brand new again. And yeah, she killed it. It's a brand new song. It made me fall in love.
It was. And not that the song died out or anything, but it definitely gave the song that, like, it revived it, you know what I'm saying, and brought it back. Because I thought the song was Yeah, it did. Yeah, I thought the song was recent, but then I found out like, whoa, she actually dropped this in 2019. So that's really, really dope that you did that. Really, really dope.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, earlier you were talking about skateboarding. So I kind of wanted to ask you, in your early stages of skateboarding, can you tell us what was the hardest to overcome and like what's your favorite trick?
Okay. Favorite trick, I'm gonna just say a kickflip. I mean, I can do more than a kickflip, but a kickflip is like my go-to if I want to like do a trick off of a ledge or a staircase. It's always a kickflip. So I'm gonna get that out the way. I
Okay.
think the hardest thing like that I had to learn, you said, like growing up with
Yeah.
skateboarding.
Yeah.
I think mm, honestly for me, it didn't really get that hard for me because I loved it. You know what I mean? So I love to learn and I didn't care about falling. I was a daredevil little girl and not afraid to fall or hurt myself. But I also just surrounded myself with people that were better than me.
Hmm.
And like all the older kids at the skate park, they would teach me and I would just learn by watching their feet and the right time when to move my foot this way or the right time to, do an ollie at this time,
Wow.
you know what I mean? So I would just hang out with people that were better than me. And if I wanted to learn something, they would always be like, all right, well, you got to do this and this and that. And so I had learned from the big kids, the bigger kids at the skate park. But I don't think it was really that hard. Like, yeah, there's times where it gets challenging where you just want to do something so bad, but you can't do it. I think that's the most frustrating thing is when, at least for me, it's like I don't give up, and it's just like I have to keep going and going. And if you just don't get it, like that day, you get pissed and you're just like, crap, I gotta wait till tomorrow. Like the park's
Yeah.
closing now. Damn it. But I think that was probably the toughest thing, but that also just strengthens, your mentality, and you use that
Right.
same mentality. I use that same mentality toward my music. It's like, okay, this song didn't do well. All right, I'm gonna write a better one, knock it out.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I use that same mentality with music as well.
Okay. Yeah. And would you consider yourself a skateboard pro now, or what would you say your level of skateboarding is?
No, I don't think. No, I'm definitely not a skateboard pro, but I could kick it though. Like I could hang with the pros. I'm friends with
Okay.
the female skateboard or professional skateboarders, so I'm able to kick it and hold it down. But I definitely like wouldn't take this like. And when in the beginning when I started, I did want to take it seriously before I even got into music. Like I wanted to be in the women's X Games one day. Like I wanted to, be
Wow.
sponsored and stuff like that. So now it's obviously music hit a little different, and so I'm doing music full time, but I still skate every now and then. But nah, I ain't no pro.
Okay. Okay. Before the fame, you stated that your parents would drive you 5 hours for you to sing in the streets of LA. Can you give us what were some of your thoughts at that time, and were you nervous?
Oh my gosh. My Okay, so yes, I was nervous because in the beginning I was, because that was my first time ever singing in the streets for like a bunch of randos,
Right.
especially in LA. Because I had sang in church in my hometown. I had sang in the streets at church or at in my hometown, like because we have like farmers markets and street fairs and stuff. So I would just sing there, but that's because that's where I'm comfortable, my
Right.
hometown. So yeah, I had ended up just going to Santa Monica and performing on the promenade, the Third Street Promenade. And my mom and dad would drive me every weekend. I did it a couple times. I did it a few times when I was 12, and then I went back again when I was 16 and started doing it. So I did it like separate times of my career. But yeah, so at 12, of course, I was nervous. But I think the hardest part is just to get out there and sing the first song, because after the first song you sing, you're automatically comfortable, and then you start engaging and you see people loving you. You see people walking and then stopping when they hear your voice, and then they're like,
Right.
oh, like, you know what I mean? It was the engagement that I was nervous about. Was like, damn, are these random people gonna like me? You know what I mean? So but when I see that they love it, I'm just like, okay, I'm killing it, like, hell yeah. So I use that, that energy to bounce back off of. But I mean, yeah, I guess just trying to. I also was busking too, so I had like a bucket out, and people would throw money in. So like at the end of the
Okay.
day, mm, I was
Okay.
I was good.
Cool.
I was pulling it. I was but yeah, I mean, obviously I knew I was getting money,
Hmm.
and I was just like, okay, some money is good too, but also just getting to share my voice with a different side of the world that I had never shared with before. So
Right. And whose idea was it for you to travel that far to perform on the streets?
it was actually my aunt. One of my aunts lives out in LA, and every time we would come down to visit. Lodi's not too far, 5 hours, like you said. So we would come down and visit, and just go visit like Santa Monica or something. Go to the beach, go to the promenade, and I would see live singers perform. And my aunt was like, "Man, you should do that. Like, you should do this. Like, you have to get a permit, and you have to do this." And I was like, "Well, let's do it." So we ended up getting a permit, and I was in school, so I had to get like work permit that I had to sign, you know, to get time off for school to go work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, like it was pretty much my aunt's idea, and I was racking up the bands, and so I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta do this often. Like, yeah,
That's really
I make
dope.
more money than all my friends.
Okay, that's really dope. Can you describe like one of the most, I guess, the greatest reaction that has stuck with you from doing that?
Yeah, it takes me back to performing in the street in Santa Monica. There was a couple times where there was one specific time. It was right when I had started, and when I was 12, I would take like little 5-minute breaks in between a few songs and just drink water and stuff. And it was a woman and her son came up to me and was like, "I'm so sorry to bother you." She was like, "But watching you right now reminded me of when I took my daughter to go see one of her favorite artists, and I had this feeling in my gut. It was right before the artist was successful. It was when she was very small, but she was like, I had took my daughter to go see this person. I had this gut feeling that this girl is going to be a star one day. And you know who that person was? It was Taylor Swift. And I have this same feeling about you. So can you please sign a piece of like a receipt?" It was like a receipt in her purse. She was like, "Can you please sign this for me and my son?" And I was like, wow, like that just like stuck out to me. She's like, "I have not had a gut feeling about that, like about anybody since Taylor Swift. And I have the same feeling with you." So
Wow.
my mom took a picture of it. There's a picture of it somewhere. I can find it, but it was a picture of me signing her little receipt, you know, and for her, and I took a picture with her son. And after that, like she walked away and I was just like, yo, what just happened? Like that was so crazy. That was like my first encounter with someone that has ever
Wow.
told me something so meaningful like that. And then like another time, I was performing in Lodi in my hometown at this little open mic, and a lady had walked up to me and goes, "I know you're not taking tips," because I'm performing at a restaurant and restaurants don't let you do tips because, you know, they want to make the money. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I was just doing it for exposure and just to have a good time. So a lady came out to me and was like, "I know I'm not supposed to give you tips, but I felt that God was pulling me to give you this," and hands me $100 and says, "Keep this and thank you for your gift, your talent. You're doing amazing." You know, whatever. So handed me $100.
That must feel incredible. Did you ever get to reconnect with the first woman?
Nah, I don't know where she is. I don't know.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's really dope though. If you could say anything to her, what would you say?
Now,
Yeah, now that you are like, you
gosh,
know,
oh my gosh. I honestly would say thank you because I have never heard that before. She was like probably the first person to ever really open my eyes to like, wow, I can actually do this. You know what I mean? So I definitely I think of those words often in everything that I do. And I'm just like, wow, like this girl, this grown woman, this lady literally told me I could be pretty much the biggest superstar in the world, like Taylor Swift. And so I always use that. And I wish I could just say thank you now. I hope her and her son are doing well.
yeah. Now, are there any particular challenges that you face with being so young in the industry?
um, I mean, yeah, I think I think the biggest problem is being young is to just kind of already know who you are and already know what you want your message to be as an artist. I think for other younger kids, you know, that's what they mess up on and that's how they end up, you know, feeling really crappy about their music and about their work ethic and stuff. Is because you go into the industry wanting to be this famous singer, but it's like, no, we need like, who are you as an artist? Like, what's your story? And these people try to find the story for you and really kind of just mess everything up. So at least for me, I already had kind of an idea. And there's been moments where I have put my hands, or I was put in the hands of wrong people, and they would try to be like, "Oh, well, we need to change your name. We need to do this." And I'm just like, no, why do we have to do all that? Like putting
Right.
me in a dress and makeup for a video. And I'm just like, no, and the video ain't even out. Like I didn't want it to go out. And this is right in the beginning when I had just started. But it's like little things like that. I'm just like, no, like you guys are trying to paint a picture and it's not working. I don't like
And
it.
change who you
And
are for it. Yeah.
Exactly. And since you're young, it's like they're like, okay, but you're literally 15. Like, why do we need to listen to you? We know
Mhm.
what we're doing. You know what I mean? We're the boss. You know what I mean? But now it's really I'm the fucking boss, you know? Um, but I think, yeah, I definitely think like that's like the toughest part. Like I've kind of low key been in the industry since I was 12,
Yeah.
and you know, just I've seen it all. And then until now, when I just signed to RCA, and when I was 19, I was like, I already kind of knew I had grown up. I have been through a lot of stuff, and really had came from the dirt, came from the trenches. And now I'm just like, all right, this is who I am. This is what it is. This is what I want to say. This is what I want my music to sound like. Help me sculpt it out, and let's put it out for the world. So let's go. So
Okay.
yeah,
And it's
luckily
been
I
go
was able
time ever
to.
since. So
Hey,
congratulations.
thank you so much. But
That's
yeah,
what
that's
happens when you stay true to who you are. I really love that you did that, Destiny. I love that.
absolutely. Thank you.
Seriously. Now you've gotten support from Blackpink's Lisa, which gave you more exposure, and you even got the chance to FaceTime her and thank her for it. What has the relationship been like between you two since then?
Oh my gosh. Well, first off, I love her, and I wish I could just thank her every day. But I think our relationship has been good. I mean, we've definitely stayed connected. I've also befriended some of her close friends as well. I befriended Cheshire, which is her choreographer that does all of her dance videos and stuff. Also, the director Anthony King that directs all of her videos and all that. So I had befriended them. So me and them have close relationships too, and along with Lisa, we stay connected, and you know, we're in each other's circle. So yeah, the relationship has been good.
That's really, really dope. That's dope.
Mhm.
Now, who were some of your musical influences growing up? I see the Tupac plaque in the back. I love Tupac.
Oh.
Probably not for singing. He wasn't a musical influence, but could you tell us who you did look up to?
Yeah, obviously the first people I looked up to was obviously everybody on Disney Channel, like Demi Lovato and Jonas Brothers and Hannah Montana and all of that. But I wouldn't say they influenced my sound, but they definitely got me into singing.
Right.
Um, but I think as far as influencing my sound, I was super inspired by Justin Bieber my whole life, along with Ed Sheeran, because I'm musically inclined as well. So I related to him in playing guitar and songwriting on guitar. So for songwriting, it was Ed Sheeran. Also Kehlani, adding some R&B in there. Another female, you know, singer from NorCal, where I'm from. So I always felt a connection with her. Um, and I think, you know, I'll take it back, you know, Tupac, like I was raised on old school hip hop, you know, so I always want to be able to add a little flavor in, you know, my, you know, I'm trying to build my own lane in this industry and really kind of have my own sound to where no one has heard it before, you know. So I'm trying to add a little bit of mix of pop, R&B, old school hip hop, and, you know, make it new, make it fresh.
Would you ever consider adding some rap flavor to your
Yeah.
style? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's
That's
coming.
really dope. That's really dope. Now, can you tell us one of the hardest struggles you've had to overcome thus far in the industry?
In the industry.
Yeah.
Okay. Hardest struggles. Um, I haven't shared this, but I'm gonna share it. I think this was actually something very recent. Um, I I think it's important that I share this actually, but this was last year, obviously during the pandemic, COVID had hit very hard. And I obviously 2020 was a shit show. And you know, everything with not doing shows and the BLM movement and everything like that, it obviously kind of took the inspiration, at least out of me, and not to really make music. You know, it's hard to get in the studio and write something positive when, you know, the world is going to shambles, you know.
Yeah.
So I think the hardest part for me was it was hard for me to make music, and I could see, you know, my engagement and fans going down, my followers going down. And I'm like, man, how am I going to be able to bring this back up and, you know, be that bitch again. You know what I mean? Be that girl again. But man, it's going to be tough. And I don't know when this is going to go away. I don't know when we'll be able to do shows. On top of that, literally in January, I get a call from my business manager saying, "Hey Des, just want to let you know that we're running out of money and you only have a couple months left, you know, until we're at flat zero. And I was like, oh my God, like, oh my God, am I gonna have to literally go back home and start over again when I'm signed to this like big label? Am I gonna get dropped? Like, what's going on? You know, so I was just kind of thinking, like, literally, this was January, a couple months ago. Like, I was like kind of thinking, man, this might be the end, but a start of a new chapter. I don't know, but whatever it is, it's meant to be. So it was scary. It was hard for me to sleep at night. I didn't want to tell nobody. It's kind of embarrassing, but literally I'm very religious. I have a relationship with God, so I pray about everything and a lot of things. And that was obviously the main thing I was praying about was, man, like, if this is your call for me to you know, to leave LA, I trust it, but if it's not, open some doors, you know.
Right.
And then literally a couple weeks later, Lisa did the video for Tomboy, and I was like, wow, everything, my label woke up, my team woke up. I woke up, you know, it was just kind of like, wow, like all of these fans are loving Tomboy like it's a brand new song again. But this song is 2 years old, you know what I mean? So then on top of that, I started getting more opportunities to do interviews and do photo shoots and do video shoots and stuff. So, you know, like my bank account is starting to rise up again, you know, so I'm starting to get more work and obviously able to stay in LA longer, you know. So financially that was scary because I had never been that close to almost failing before, you know what I mean? And so that has been the hardest. That has been the top number one on my list.
Thank God you overcame that, though. Seriously,
Bro,
I'm so happy for you. Yeah, because that's scary. I can imagine. That is very scary. Speaking of balancing things, how do you balance like maintaining friendships and other obligations like that you have, like school, family? Like, how does that work?
I think phone calls, man. I mean, I'm working all the time. I'm busy all the time now, but my mom always calls me on her drive homes from work at like 5:30. So when I'm in the studio and she's calling me, I'm just like, hold on, I gotta take this. So I'll just take the call. You know what I mean? Like, I just think literally phone calls are all we could do. But if there's a weekend where I'm not doing anything, I'll just drive home for the weekend and see my niece and my nephew, my grandma, my parents, you know, come back on Sunday and then back to work on Monday. I'm very thankful that I live close to home, because if I was from like London or something, like that would be so tough on me. But and my family also always comes here at the same time. So it's like I always keep that balance, but it's always like work. My mom says, oh, we want to go to San Diego, can we come down? I'm like, let me look at my schedule. Oh yeah, I'm free, like come by, you know what I mean? So it definitely gets hard sometimes, but I know that they're just a phone call away. So I definitely do find time to make sure that I'm still that Lodi born and raised girl and not this new celebrity.
Right. I understand you.
They keep me humble. They keep me humble. And all my friends keep me humble too.
That's what's up. Now, it's a blessing. I must say, it is very much a blessing to be booked and busy, but I know sometimes you may want to, you know, sit somewhere and unwind. So if you could go on vacation anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Anywhere in the world. I have a couple. I've always wanted to go to Bora Bora.
Okay, that's the one.
I'm shooting for the stars here. And I've always wanted to go to like Cancun.
Yeah.
Cancun, Mexico. And I've always wanted to go to like Italy. I was close. I did a European tour, but I didn't go to Italy. But I always wanted to go to Italy just to feel out the vibes and have a glass of wine real quick. And then like Greece or something like that. Like I love like tropical islands looking places. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get soon. So when I do see that you finally got the time to go to those places, I'll be like, wow. And she said she was gonna do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And lastly, as a young entertainer in the industry, you know, what was some of the best advice that you received? And then now that you are where you are, you're chasing your dream, you're living your dream, actually, I should say, what is some advice that you would give to someone else who's young trying to pursue a dream in the industry?
I think So for the first question on advice, like growing up and then like coming to where I am now, one of my cousins, cousin Carmen, shout out. She had written the day I moved to LA. Well, my last weekend in Lodi, I had a going away party, and I was moving to LA, so I had this skateboard for everyone to sign, like just to leave me a message, and I have it hanging up on my wall right here. But one of my cousin Carmen wrote on it and said, "Don't let anyone tell you the sky is the limit when there's footprints on the moon." You know, and so that obviously that's just a very cheesy quote, but it's also like, damn, like that's the truth. You know what I mean? Like, don't let anybody tell you, okay, you get a number one and then you're set for life. You don't have to do anything after that. It's like, no, I'm going to keep putting out hits and keep, you know what I mean? Keep the momentum going. And until I'm the biggest superstar in the world and my music is playing everywhere, you know? So, I think that's like a really nice quote, is because obviously I'm in a bigger position and I'm more, you know, known, I guess. But I would definitely say that. And as far as music goes and music industry, I want to share this one. When I was having like my moment of not like being inspired or anything, I knew I needed a hit though, and I didn't know how to do it. So I hit my friend Bruno Mars up and I was like, yo, I was like, can you help me out with some advice? And the advice he gave me for the hit was, no one is going to make the hit for you. You have the magic, you have the essence, and you need to provide that. And then that's how a hit comes. The hit's going to come from you. And so I was like, okay. All right. So that's like another like piece of advice that I just carry with me daily. I don't have a number one yet, but you know, that's from someone that has had plenty. So it's like, my time will come, but I'm gonna keep that in mind. So that's another piece of advice that I just want to share that I thought would be cool. And then what was the second half of your question again?
What would be advice that you would give to someone who's chasing their dream in the industry now?
I would say, you know, as cheesy and basic as it sounds, is really just to never give up. You know, I think you have to stay motivated. You know, you are going to get knocked down. There are going to be moments where you're crying and you're frustrated and you don't think this is going to work. And you're also going to have people in your ear either telling you it's not going to work or it will work, you know? So you just have to listen to the positive people and listen to yourself as well. You know, if you love something and you're passionate about something and you know that you can go far, do that. It don't matter where you come from. If you don't come from money, like I never came from money. I didn't have rich parents. I didn't have, you know, everything handed to me. I had to work from the ground up. And, you know, you just need to surround yourself with people that will support you and really be, you know, that person yelling in your ear, you know, keep going, you know? But yeah, I just want everybody to have a lot of confidence and really, you know, feel that they can take over the world one day with whatever you're doing, singing, art, basketball, whatever, you know, it's with everything. You have a dream and you're going to chase it. You're going to follow it and it'll happen. So.
Wow, that was amazing. Destiny, I really enjoyed this interview. And first things first, I want to say, like, I really love the fact that you stayed true to yourself and you can see how that paid off for you. So that was really inspiring to me. And we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. Preme will definitely stay in touch.
Let me know when you and Cali too. We got to kick it.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
You have a good one.